Let me start by saying this. I never thought I'd be the guy writing something like this. You read stories like mine online and think, that'll never be me. But here I am. And yeah, it's as soul-crushing as you'd imagine. I'm Nick, 34, and until recently, I thought I had a solid life. A good job in IT consulting, a cozy house in a quiet neighborhood, and a wife who, for the past 7 years, I believe was the best thing that ever happened to me. Her name's Alina. She's 32, works in marketing, and she lights up a room when she walks in. Or, she used to. Now all I can see is the lies she kept feeding me for months. Maybe longer. We met at a mutual friend's beach bonfire when we were in our 20s. I handed her a toasted marshmallow without saying a word, and she just looked at me and said, "Thanks, stranger. You're sweet." That was it. That was the moment. I was hooked. Fast forward 9 years, and we were married, had 2 rescue dogs, and were trying to conceive. About 6 months ago, I decided to take better care of myself. Desk work was catching up to me, and Alina had always encouraged me to be more active. "Do it for us," she said. "I want to grow old with you." That's when I joined Iron Core, the upscale fitness club in town. It wasn't cheap, but it had great reviews, and more importantly, a private training program. That's how I met Ryan. Ryan was one of those trainers who just had it all. Tall, confident, magnetic. The guy could sell water to a fish. He had this laid-back charm, never pushy, always encouraging. We clicked. At least, I thought we did. We bonded over sports, tech, even talked about relationships. I introduced him to Alina one Saturday after she came to pick me up from a session. They shook hands, exchanged casual pleasantries, and that was it. Or so I thought. After that, Alina started showing more interest in my fitness routine. She'd ask me about my workouts with Ryan, sometimes even laugh at the impressions I'd do of his motivational speeches. It seemed harmless. Encouraging, even. She started coming with me on some weekends, saying it was a good way for us to stay healthy together. Ryan would be friendly, professional, never anything odd. But there were glances. Subtle, fleeting. Things I brushed off as nothing. And then came our anniversary, May 17th. It wasn't our wedding anniversary, but the anniversary of the day I proposed to her on a hiking trail in Lake Tahoe. Every year, we do something special to mark it. This year, I booked a reservation at her favorite sushi place, got her a small gold necklace with a tiny maple leaf charm. She once told me she loved the trees that lined the trail where I proposed. Thoughtful, simple. I even left the box on her nightstand with a handwritten note. "Still would pick you. Always." She never opened it. That morning, she said, she had a strategy meeting with a client and might be home a little late. I told her no problem. I'd handle dinner prep for the dogs and get everything ready for our date night. She kissed me on the cheek and said, "I'll make it up to you later." She didn't come home until after midnight. I tried calling and texting around 8:30 after waiting at the restaurant alone for over an hour. She didn't respond until 11:52 p.m. "Sorry, long meeting, dead phone, I'll explain later." I didn't even know how to respond. I just sat on the couch with a glass of scotch, staring at the unopened necklace box. When she walked in, she looked flushed, hair slightly damp, like she'd just come from a shower. Her eyes widened a bit when she saw I was still up. "I thought you'd be asleep," she said, trying to sound casual. "Didn't feel right," I replied. She gave me a weak smile, said she was exhausted, and went straight to the bathroom. I sat there another hour, just frozen. Something felt off. Deeply off. 2 days later, I got the call. "Ryan." He sounded shaken. I still remember his exact words. "Nick, man, I need to be honest about something. Something I should have told you before it happened. Before anything happened." My stomach dropped. I walked out of my office mid-call, into my car, and just drove. I slept with Alina. 5 words. 5 goddamn words that undid years of my life. I pulled the car over, didn't speak for a full minute. He kept talking. Apologizing. Explaining. He said it wasn't planned, that it just happened. That he didn't know how to stop it once it started. That it had been going on for about 2 months. That she came to the gym to see him, not me. That she told him things like, "You make me feel alive," and "I don't know who I am with Nick anymore." I remember everything about that moment. The way my hands trembled on the steering wheel. The ringing in my ears. The sound of traffic rushing by like a roar underwater. And the worst part? I thanked him. I actually said, "Thanks for telling me," before hanging up. Because deep down, I already knew. After I hung up on Ryan, I sat there in the driver's seat with the engine still running, completely numb. I didn't cry. Not then. It was too soon for that. My body hadn't caught up to the betrayal yet. It was still processing it as data, not emotion. Just input. My wife. Ryan. 2 months. Multiple times. You know what really broke me? It wasn't even the cheating. It was realizing how easily I'd let myself be fooled. I was so proud of trusting her. Of being the mature husband who didn't snoop, didn't question, didn't assume the worst. And she used that, weaponized it. She smiled in my face, and came home smelling like someone else's sweat. I didn't go back to work that day. Instead, I drove to a nearby park, the one where we used to walk our dogs on Sunday mornings. Sat on a bench overlooking the pond and watched the geese fight over scraps. Everything in my life suddenly felt like background noise. I didn't know what to do. I didn't even know who to be. When I finally got home that evening, she was in the kitchen, chopping bell peppers like nothing had happened. Wearing that same gray tank top I used to love seeing her in after a workout. Now it just looked like a costume. She turned and smiled, but her eyes froze when she saw my face. "Nick," she asked, stepping toward me. "Are you okay?" I didn't answer. Just dropped my keys on the counter and stared at her. She must have sensed something, because her expression shifted fast, like she was trying to read the room before choosing a strategy. Then I said it. "I know." She didn't ask what. She didn't play dumb. Her face went blank, like someone unplugged the emotion from her. "How?" she whispered. "Does it matter?" She shook her head, eyes welling up, and whispered, "No, I guess it doesn't." That was the first time I cried. Not because I was sad, but because in that moment, I realized she hadn't even planned to stop. She wasn't caught in the middle of a mistake. She was just caught. There was no guilt on her face. Only fear. Fear of losing the comfortable life she had with me. "I'm so sorry," she said, reaching for my hand. I pulled it back like she'd burned me. "You don't get to be sorry now. Nick, please." 2 months. I cut her off. "How many times?" Her mouth opened, then closed again. That hesitation was all I needed. "How many?" she finally said. "I don't know. More than 5?" She nodded. "More than 10?" She started crying. I laughed. I actually laughed, because the absurdity of it was too much. This was the woman I made pancakes for every Sunday. The woman I held in the dark when her anxiety was so bad she couldn't sleep. The woman I almost started IVF with. I slept in the guest room that night. The next few days were hell. She begged. She cried. She said all the things cheaters say when they're trying to crawl out of the pit they dug. It didn't mean anything. I felt lost. He made me feel noticed. I didn't think you'd still want me after everything. That last one got me. Because it confirmed something I had suspected. She wanted to destroy us. On some subconscious level, she wanted out, but didn't want to be the one to break it. So she found someone who made her feel reckless and alive, and let herself believe she deserved it. Eventually, I stopped listening. What made everything worse was that I still had sessions booked with Ryan. I was supposed to see him 3 times the following week. He tried to cancel them after confessing, but I insisted he show up. I wanted to look him in the eye. I needed to see what kind of man could do that to someone who treated him like a friend. When he walked in that Monday morning, he looked like a kid facing the principal. Wouldn't meet my eyes. Kept his voice low. I didn't yell. Didn't throw a punch. I just said, "Train me." He hesitated. "Are you sure? Just do your job." So he did. That workout was one of the best I've ever had. I pushed harder than I ever had before. Every rep, every set, was punishment. For him. For me. For her. For every time I ignored the signs. My muscles burned, my lungs ached, but I kept going. Pain was easier than grief. After the session, he stood near the locker room door, looking like he wanted to say something. I walked past him, stopped, and said, "You've got 1 more week of training me. Then I'm done. With you. With her. With all of it." He nodded. "I deserve that. You deserve worse." And I walked away. Back at home, Alina tried her best to reconnect. She made breakfast, cleaned the house, even tried initiating physical intimacy, which I shut down immediately. At one point, she put on a playlist we used to slow dance to, saying, "Maybe we could just talk. Start over." Start over. Like this was a job interview. Like she could just apply again for the role of faithful wife. I told her I'd be filing for separation. Her face crumbled, and I swear it was the first real emotion I'd seen from her since I found out. "Can we at least go to therapy?" she asked. "Please. For us. There is no us anymore," I said. That night, I couldn't sleep. I sat in the living room staring at our wedding album. Our first kiss as husband and wife. Her laugh under the string lights. My face, stupid and full of hope. I closed it, stood up, and dumped it in the trash. That was the night I realized I didn't just lose a marriage. I lost the version of myself that believed in her. You'd think that once the truth is out, once the betrayal is in the open and acknowledged, that the hardest part is over. It's not. The hardest part isn't the revelation, or the confrontation, or even the choice to walk away. The hardest part is everything that comes after. The silence. The memories. The quiet unraveling of a life you built one shared toothbrush and inside joke at a time. After I told Alina I wanted a separation, something inside her fractured. She didn't cry dramatically or scream or beg. She just shut down. Like someone turned off her light. It was eerie, honestly. For weeks she wandered the house like a ghost, fixing coffee she barely drank, folding laundry like it mattered, asking questions in this soft, measured tone, like she didn't want to wake whatever demon she thought she'd summoned. She never blamed me. Never once said I was unfair or cold. Because she knew. She knew she'd torched something sacred and irreplaceable. I didn't file for divorce right away. I wasn't ready. The logistics were one thing, but emotionally, I needed space. So I rented a small furnished condo a few blocks away. Told her I'd be back to collect the rest of my things once I figured out what staying gone really meant. Living alone again was both strange and soothing. That first morning, I woke up to birdsong instead of the buzz of her alarm and the scent of her shampoo. I made coffee, not for 2, but just for me. I drank it in silence, no dogs barking, no partner shuffling through the kitchen half awake. It should have felt lonely. But it didn't. It felt like oxygen. In that new space, I rediscovered parts of myself I'd forgotten. I took long walks without telling anyone where I was going. I bought a sketchbook and started drawing again, something I hadn't done since college. I reconnected with old friends, most of whom had drifted because of the very relationship I'd now lost. One of them, Jamie, looked at me over beers one night and said, "You're lighter. You're still wrecked, yeah, but you look like you're breathing again." He wasn't wrong. But healing isn't linear. There were nights I'd drive by our house and see the lights on and wonder who she was now. Not out of love, just curiosity, maybe resentment. Did she regret it? Did she look at the empty bed and think of me? Or was Ryan still a part of her world? I never asked. What I did find out, accidentally, was that they didn't last. Someone at the gym told me Ryan had left Ironcore. Quietly. No farewell post, no party. Just gone. I heard whispers he'd moved out of state. Somewhere low-key, one trainer said with a shrug. Apparently, his client base dried up fast once word spread. There's something poetic about that, I guess. Actions have a cost, and his bill came due. As for Alina, she texted me once a week, every week, without fail. Just simple things. "I hope you're eating well. I saw your favorite bourbon on sale. Still can't stand the smell of it. Do you still walk the dogs in the mornings? They miss you." I never responded. It wasn't about revenge or punishment. It was about preservation. I couldn't let her voice back into my space. She had used it to lie, to soothe, to manipulate. Now it didn't belong to me anymore. Eventually, she stopped texting. I think that's when she finally accepted it was over. Really over. 6 months after I moved out, I filed the divorce papers. She didn't fight me. Didn't contest anything. We didn't have kids, so the split was clean, if not easy. She moved out of the house not long after. It sold quickly. I took the dogs. She said it was only fair, that they were more mine than hers anyway. On the day the divorce finalized, I didn't throw a party. Didn't cry either. I just stood in my new apartment, a stack of unopened boxes still against the wall, and whispered, "Okay, that chapter's done." A week later, I ran into her at the grocery store. We stood in the produce section, both staring at the same stack of Honeycrisp apples. She looked different, tired, smaller somehow, like the version of her I used to know had been packed away in a box she couldn't quite find again. "Hey," she said, voice tentative. I nodded. "Hey." For a moment, it felt like two strangers standing where two lovers used to be. She looked like she wanted to say something. Maybe everything. But she didn't. Instead, she just said, "You look good. Healthier. Thanks. And the dogs? They're happy. Always are." She nodded again, blinking fast like she was holding something back. "I'm sorry, Nick. For all of it." "I know," I said. And then I walked away. That was the last time I saw her. It's been almost a year now. I'm not angry anymore. Not really. The pain has dulled into something like muscle memory. Occasionally, a photo will slip out of a drawer, or I'll hear a song we once danced to, and it'll knock the wind out of me for a second. But I don't drown in it anymore. I'm not whole yet. But I'm real. And that's something. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this. Love doesn't die all at once. It fades like sunlight in winter, gradually, quietly. Until one day, you're no longer looking back. You're just walking forward. And I'm finally walking forward.